Do you want to learn the power of vulnerability in building authentic connections, how vulnerability leads to self-acceptance and personal growth, and the role of vulnerability in achieving emotional well-being and peace? If so, you must watch this mini masterclass all the way till the end. Hi, my name is Carmen Benton, intuitive master mindset coach, master energy healer, and I am here to empower driven souls to get to the next level of their lives, of their business, and their careers by healing their unresolved traumas so they can thrive and live their soul and life purpose. So let's start talking about vulnerability, a concept that is usually misunderstood and viewed as a sign of weakness. We are taught from a very young age to hide how you feel, to put a brave face, and to present a facade of strength to everyone around you. But what if vulnerability is not a flaw, but rather the gateway to deeper connections, self-discovery, and healing? In this masterclass, I want you to explore with me the concept of vulnerability, why it's important and how to embrace it, and the transformational power it has when it comes to healing. So what is vulnerability? Let's start with the basics, right? Vulnerability is the willingness to expose your true self to the world. This includes your fears, your insecurities, and emotions without being afraid of being judged or rejected. It involves opening up to others, the entirety of your soul, your struggles, and allowing them to see you for who you really are, to see your authentic self. Vulnerability is the opposite of hiding behind masks or walls, and instead invites for genuine connection and understanding. I never used to be vulnerable. I was the master of wearing masks. Everyone can see the shiny, steely armor around myself, all my successes, all my accomplishments. But nobody knew that that armor was really concealing my wounded heart. It wasn't until I decided to be vulnerable with myself and with others, vulnerable enough to admit that I needed healing, to admit that I needed help, that my healing journey began. So why is vulnerability so important? Well, to begin, so number one, it creates authentic connections. When you allow yourself to be vulnerable with others, right, around you, we don't live on an island, we live with people on this planet. When you allow yourself to be vulnerable, you create a space for connection, right? Like we can see each other's in the other person's journey. When you share your experience, your fears, your aspirations, you invite others to do the same. Especially if you're a healer or a coach, right? You want to let your clients, your audience know that you're human, that you've been there, that you understand their pain, and you know how to get them out of it because you've done it. But also, when I was a corporate executive, it was through being vulnerable with my staff that I got the authentic connection that made my team the most amazing, badass team in the entire company. They weren't working for money. Of course, everyone wants a paycheck, but they were working hard. They were working smart. They were committed because we had a connection. I saw them and they saw me as people, as human beings, as souls. Through vulnerability, establish the connection able to foster empathy, support, and belonging. You want to belong with your tribe, whether you are an employee or business owner, a mom or a friend. You want your connections, your relationships to be genuine and authentic. And that can only happen when you know what's happening behind the mask. The second reason why vulnerability is so important is because it allows you to grow by leveraging self-acceptance. So when you embrace vulnerability, you get to acknowledge and accept, you know what, I am not that perfect. So accept your imperfections, right? And that creates a pathway to self-discovery and growth. Because if you're perfect, there's nothing else for you to do in this world. You might as well transition, right? But since we are not perfect, since we have flaws, since we always have more healing to do, since we always have more growth and things to learn and experience, by saying, you know what? Yes, I need help. There's this area of my life that I need to take to the next level. There is this part of me that needs more healing. Being vulnerable enough to do that, accepting that you need to work on those areas of you, lets you grow, right? It lets you develop. And quite frankly, as humans, if we are not growing, we're dying. So might as well be vulnerable, accept that you need to continue to grow and experience new things and continue with the evolution. The third thing for which vulnerability is so important, it creates emotional well-being. When you bottle up emotions and suppress vulnerability, it will take a toll on your mental health and emotional well-being. But when you allow yourself to be vulnerable, you give yourself permission to experience the whole range of emotions. Not just the happy, but also the sadness, right? It is okay to be sad. What is not okay is for you to stick there. But when you bottle it up and pretend that it doesn't exist and cover it with distractions, when you numb it, or you heard me say this before, when you put lipstick on the pig, you still have a pig. You still have sadness in your body. And when the emotion is not processed, it creates energetic blocks in your chakras that will keep you away from everything you want in life. That's simple. But when you let the emotion go through you and you observe it, acknowledge it, process it, and heal it before it blocks your energy, then you can really experience that inner peace, that happiness that comes with emotional well-being. So now you're thinking, okay, Carmen, so how do I achieve vulnerability? Okay, so I'm going to give you 3 ways that you can start implementing today to start practicing and embracing vulnerability in your life. You ready? Okay, number 1 is cultivate self-compassion. So important. I just wrote a whole 7,000 words in a chapter talking about self-compassion and forgiveness. In self-compassion, it's almost like the spark that initiates, that ignites your healing journey. It means that you accept yourself as you are. And it means that you will treat yourself with kindness, regardless of your bad decisions, your past mistakes, your current mood, or what's happening around you. Self-compassion is a magic potion that will transform your life. Number 2, trust. When you actually trust other people enough to know that you can lower those walls, you can melt the shiny armor that's around you, that you can show up as you are, authentic, then you start creating the muscle that takes to be able to fully and 100% be vulnerable. I understand it's scary. It's really scary. When you read about my story, when you hear about my story, you know that I had a childhood trauma that made me become the protector, the challenger, never trusting anybody. It made me close my heart in a way where relationships had a label of do not enter, right? Danger, danger, danger. And it took me a lot of time, effort, and healing to be able to fully open my heart and say, this is who I am. Take it or leave it, right? But it starts with trusting. And sometimes you need to take the first step and trust the person in front of you. Assume they have a good heart and they don't have any ill intentions to hurt you. And when you can do that, then you can start being vulnerable. The next one that kind of follows the last one is take it easy, right? Take gradual steps towards this journey. It can be stressful for all the reasons we have discussed. But you can start by sharing thoughts that are not so intimate. And then slowly, as if you were going into the ocean, right? You put your toes in, and then you get to your ankles, and then your knees, then your hips, and eventually you just take the plunge, right? You can take small steps, little by little, getting outside of that comfort zone until you actually can be in a relationship with somebody, a friend, a lover, a family member, a complete stranger, right? Where you can be vulnerable. So as you can see, embracing vulnerability is not a one-time event. It's an ongoing journey. It happens every day, right? It requires a whole lot of courage, self-acceptance, and the willingness to step into discomfort. As you reflect on your own life, you might think about areas in which you know you need to be more vulnerable. And also acknowledge the areas in which you are intentionally holding back. I invite you to challenge yourself to have the self-compassion, the trust, and the gradual intention to become more authentic so you can build genuine connections and start your healing process. Remember that true strength lies in vulnerability. And by embracing it, you open yourself to a world of possibilities. If this is an area in which you have trouble, where you find yourself not really going deep enough because it's really scary, if you have hit a roadblock and you don't know how to accelerate or keep the healing process for yourself, this is exactly the things I do with my clients, and I'll be honored to help you reach that next level by leveraging the power of vulnerability and accelerating your own unique healing journey. So if this resonates with you, I invite you to schedule a complimentary consult with me where we are going to determine exactly for your particular case, what are the steps that you need to take so you can continue, start, or expedite your healing process so you can get to the next level of your life, business, career, and thrive, get everything you want in life. I love you, and I see you next time.